Hello everyone and welcome back to The Sims 4, and today we're actually going to be working with Cattails cats again, and today we are going to be making the Mountain Domain. So this guy is just the default cat that spawned in. He's kind of cool, but eventually he's going to need to be Leo, so we're going to have to change his looks quite a bit because that is not quite how Leo looks. So we're going to start off with Leo because he's a leader. Mixed breed is fine because we don't really have to, we don't really know what breed Leo is. So I'm actually going to go ahead, though, and look through the breeds and see if we can find something that would give us a decent base. Possibly this. Not the, well, not the throwing up part either, but not the coloration, but I'm looking at how I imagine body type, and I have refs of all the cats up, and this looks pretty good. I think the markings and such are off, so we're going to go ahead and change all of that. Let's see, do we have a nice tabby look? We should somewhere in here. Gonna have to scroll through. That's kind of a cool one. Where there's that. And we can change the coloration up at, with the color things you can see at the top. We can change it with that. So don't worry if it doesn't look exactly like the right coloration yet. We're just trying to find markings that'll work well. Maybe we'll do something like this. If we turn a lot of these to black, and then maybe to some very, very dark gray. Will that work? That's a little bit too, there's not quite enough contrast there. There's also these. And this one. What about this one? If we turn this one here, maybe it's just that coloration that's not quite working. That's kind of almost lavendery. Leo actually does have a bit of a lighter under color actually. So I kind of want to try and find one that will reflect that, where we could give him the slightly lighter one without it really lightening up it's more in his underbelly that it's lighter. I don't really want to lighten up the whole rest of it. This was the one we just looked at, wasn't it? Yeah. This one maybe? If we turn these to black and very dark, and then this one can come to something like that maybe? That's still pretty light. This one maybe? If we darken a lot of these down, and then this were to go here, that's pretty nice. This one's kind of, that lightens it quite a bit. That doesn't really show the stripes all that well. Is that the same color? Yeah. Maybe I'll do that. That's pretty nice. It's a little bit more brown than I was thinking, but for the most part, that's pretty nice. I think that matches his coloring quite well. We're going to change some other details as well, though. So, okay, body type. I like this one. I think that looks pretty good. And then for the tail, he has a nice long tail. And then we did coat color. Let's look at the fur types. Do we have this one? That's the one we have. That's a little less fluffy, and I kind of like that more because I imagine Leo being fluffy but not like super fluffy. So let's go ahead. I want to look at his face here a little bit, and I'm gonna give him a little more facial fluff, and then let me turn the camera a bit. His eyes are actually pretty accurate to how they appear. Oh, that looks like his eyes. They're actually in shape. They're pretty accurate to how they appear. And then here we're faced with a little bit of a difficult decision because I think he's going to look better probably with the black nose because the skin changes with that, and this will go a little bit better. But in his actual picture, he does have a pink nose, but if we give him a pink nose here, then that adds so much coloration around on the ears and around the eyes that I think it's gonna be better just to give him a black nose. So we'll have to sacrifice one detail for the others because he has gray fur in his ears, only this shows more of the skin in his ears. So it looks like his whiskers are fairly medium sized, so that's probably fine. They are white. His eye type is pretty good, I think. Maybe can we yeah, I think that'll be pretty good. And then what else do we need to do with the face? I think how are the ears? The ears maybe could be a little more rounded. Nope. Nope. That's a little better. I want them to be more rounded. I don't necessarily want this tufty thing on the tip, but I think that's going to be the case for any of them. So I'm actually going to give him these ears, and we're going to bring them up just a little bit more because I think that looks more like him. So let's go ahead and zoom out, and we're going to look at some of the other details. So I imagine him to have kind of large paws because he seems like a fairly well-built cat. He is a very strategist, military sort of leader, and so I imagine he'd be a pretty strong, pretty powerful cat. His tail's fairly fluffy. I like that. And I think for the most part that suits his looks fairly well to how I envision him, at least. That eye color is pretty much spot on. I do have a reference of the cats up to the side as I'm working so I can see what they look like. And I think we're going to go ahead. He's going to be a mixed breed because we don't actually know what his breed is. So mixed breed. His name is Leo. And let's look here. He is male. He's not female. And let's listen to meow. Let's see. I like the more musical meow, I think. I like that. Where was the one that... That's pretty good, I think. That'll be pretty good. All right. So for his traits, I'm not going to have him be super fluffy because I don't think the leader of the Mountain Domain could spend his time hacking up hairballs. Let's see. He's maybe a little bit territorial, but I don't know that he's so much aggressive as he is mistrustful. That would be more something we give to Jag. Not talkative, not spoiled, not skittish. Maybe a prowler, because he is the one who always goes out to the Lone Pine, or I think it's called the Lone Sentinel, or maybe that's the tile below it. Now I can't remember. I'm not looking directly at the map. Playful, not so much. Mischievous, I don't know. Lazy, I don't think so. Glutton, probably not. Frisky, maybe. Friendly, maybe. Free spirit, possibly. Curious, possibly. I think curious and free spirit will be good because that kind of reflects, I mean, he's a very, curious could also be kind of like, he's always questioning things. He's wondering, like with Oberon, he's been very questioning as to why is Oberon there? He wonders about that kind of thing. And then a free spirit, he is quite the wanderer, and he's also, there's not really, you can't quite demonstrate the skill of leadership in this, but I think that can get pretty close there. So I think that'll be pretty good. And yeah, I think all of that looks good. We got everything set up. So next up, we're going to go ahead, we're going to add another cat, and this is going to be Luna, and that looks absolutely nothing like her. But I think one of these, maybe that actually, either Balinese or maybe Burman. Probably Burman, I think, because that looks a lot like Luna. That may even be what she's supposed to be. She might even supposed to be a Burman or a Himalayan, possibly. Let's see, do they have a Himalayan? Himalayan, they do. Okay. Maybe not so much. Let's see. What was it? I'm going to get rid of this, and then we're going to go back here because I think this is pretty good. We're going to go ahead and change to mixed breed because, again, we don't actually have a canon breed for her. And I'm going to go ahead and take a look at these things. So what does this do? That changes the feet. I think we're going to give her pretty light feet, and this will give her a pretty light coat because she is almost white. And then this is going to be a little bit lighter, maybe that. Oh, yeah, I like that. And then this will be a little lighter as well. That's kind of on her feet. And I don't know that she has as much marking on her feet. We can't see it at least. So I think that looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and we'll look at her body type. I imagine she might be a little bit more on the lean side. She strikes me as the sort who's a very small, very light cat. That's how I imagine her. And she has a nice long tail, which I think is good. And coat color pattern, we already looked at that. Furs, let's see. That's really sleek. That's not quite what we're looking for. I think that fur would probably be the best. So let's come here, and then we're going to adjust her fluff levels, because I don't think she has a very thick neck. I think she has maybe more cheek fluff. I think she's got a little bit of a thinner neck. And her face is a little fluffier, perhaps. And then her ears are fairly small. I think we can make do with this type, possibly. Maybe. Well, we'll see. What about this type? Yeah, they're fairly small, fairly rounded, and they're kind of set on the sides of her head like that a little bit. They're a little bit further apart. And as for her eyes, I think this kind maybe, and then she has more of the really pale blue, kind of like Leo himself. And so I think we're gonna go ahead and give her those eyes. And then she has pretty long whiskers, I think, and they're gonna be pale. And let's see, we did the eyes. What about the nose? Her nose is like this cinnamony sort of color, so something like that. And I'm gonna go ahead and adjust some proportions here, because I don't think she needs to be quite that furry. I'm gonna give her a little bigger paws, because I think, even though I imagine they are probably pretty small, I don't think they're quite that small. Possibly the legs feel like they bend inward weird. I don't know why that is. But that, for some reason, that's kind of bothering me, and I don't know that there really is much we can do about it. It'll be alright, I think. I'm going to make her a little bit leaner because she's fluffy, but I don't imagine her to be super heavy set. I think she's a fairly light cat. What does that do? I don't even really know what that does. Oh, that adjusts, yeah, okay, that adjusts how skinny they are. I'm going to make her a little skinnier. And I think her tail is probably pretty fluffy. So we're going to give her a nice fluffy tail, and then we're going to go ahead and we'll do her traits here. So her first name is Luna. She is female, and I feel like she has a very high-pitched meow. Maybe not quite that high-pitched. Maybe something like that. And she's a mixed breed, but I don't think she's a glutton. She's definitely skittish, because she's at least very shy. Let's see, she's not talkative, that's for sure. She's not really super friendly, like she doesn't go out of her way to be friendly, but I think we can give her the clever trait, because if she's a healer, she has to be pretty smart. And what else could we give her? I don't think she's a glutton. Fluffy trait, I don't know. She's not really territorial, she's not talkative, she's not spoiled. She's not necessarily a prowler, she doesn't strike me as especially playful. She doesn't seem especially mischievous. I don't think she's lazy, I don't think she's a glutton. She doesn't really seem frisky or friendly. Maybe free spirit? Possibly, or curious. You know what? Curious, actually, because she'd have to be investigating things and considering things and thinking about things to be a healer. So I think we're going to go ahead and give her curious. So she's skittish, clever, and curious, and I feel like those traits suit her pretty well. So I think we're going to go ahead then, and we'll go on to the next cat, who's going to be a little bit more difficult to work with. We're going to go ahead and add another cat. Oh my, oh dear. Already kind of a spoiled one, it looks like. A calico, okay. I think, though, we're going to go ahead and change, because the next cat we're going to work with is actually going to be Delta, and I think something like that actually seems to be pretty, I think that's a pretty good look for Delta, actually. She's got a fairly smooth coat, and we're going to go ahead and I'm actually going to remove her pet clothing, because she doesn't really have any accessories. And I think, let's go ahead and look at the face. I'm going to see, I think her eyes, what would be a good eye type? We're probably not going to get, well, we've already used that one twice now. I'm going to give her, she actually has purple eyes, but they don't have purple eyes here. So I'm going to give her, these have a little bit of purple in them. I'm going to give her those. And maybe if we take these and kind of center, like, don't quite have them be so crossed. These maybe. I think she's got a little bit more fluff than this. Whoa. Whoa. Wait a second. Oh my goodness. I didn't even know that was possible. Oh my goodness. Okay. We're going to give her a little bit more. Okay, let's look at the fur type because I think she might need a different fur type than this. Oh, that's like, okay. No. Okay, I think this is the best fur type we're going to get for her, so we maybe can't make her much, well, let's look at the body type and see. I think this is probably going to be the closest. We probably can't make her much fluffier than this. I might give her a little bit more so she's not so super skinny, but she does strike me as being a little bit on the lean side. And then, let's see, I think that's going to be pretty good, and hopefully the paint will go on top of this, because then what we're going to do is we're going to go to paint mode, and we're actually going to get some of this nice purple color, because she has actually dyed her fur. Oh, wow, that's really bright. Okay. Actually, I'm not going to turn down that. I'm going to turn down the opacity a little bit so that it's not quite so, blindingly purple. It is pretty bright, though. She has, like, a berry dyes or something to do this. And then, let's see. Does it actually bring it down? Yeah, so we can just paint on some nice purple there. And it kind of goes up her forehead a little bit. I'm actually going to come through then and erase some around it to kind of taper it off a little bit more, just like that. And then she's got some on her ears as well, kind of on the outside of her ears especially. And we'll kind of put some in there. This is not quite working as well as I'd hoped. And I don't know if it's behind her ears. I'm gonna put it on a little bit behind her ears. What if I actually do put it behind her ears like that? That looks all right. And then it looks like she has it on the tip of her tail. And so she's got some down here. And let's see if I zoom out a little more. Oh, because I have to do it all in once. That's right. Or just be kind of careful about how I do it. Can you actually lay down here? And then maybe I can just come in on the bottom here. And that doesn't look too bad. Yeah, that looks pretty good. If we have her go back to her normal position, that looks pretty good. And then I think she has a little bit on her paws too. So we're going to go ahead and add some around on her paws. And can we turn this while we're painting? We cannot. So we'll just have to be kind of cautious when we come in and do the back here. There we go. And we'll kind of just do the same thing over here. Actually, no, I'm going to do it from the front because the front is the part that we'll probably, that'll probably see the most here. And so we want to make sure we really get that covered. And then we can just kind of do some touch-up in the back. All right, yeah, that looks pretty good, I think. And unfortunately, we can't actually turn her eyes purple because she does have purple eyes. There we go. And I think that looks pretty good. So that'll be pretty much as close as we can get for Delta, I think. Oh, she actually has some on her underbelly too, it looks like, or at least on her chest. I'm going to bring this down just a little bit more. So let's kind of come in here, because it looks like she has a spot there. And then I don't know if she has it all down her underbelly, but I think she mostly has it on her chest. So yeah, I think that looks pretty good, or at least as good as it's going to get probably for Delta. So let's go ahead and go back. And I think, well, let's look at her, even her nose is purple, but we can't do that here. We'll go ahead and just give her a black nose. Okay, she already has a black nose. Or would any of these, no, No, I think this is going to be the best one still. And for her ears, maybe they'll be set a little bit further up and they might be a little bit larger. She has pretty big ears. And let's see, anything else we should note? I think mostly just whiskers, which are, hers are pretty light in color and they're medium length, I would say. So I think that's going to be pretty good for Delta. So we'll go ahead and give her the name Delta. And she is female. They got that part right this time. I imagine her having a deeper meow. Something like that, probably. And she's a mixed breed. We don't actually know what she is. And then affectionate, maybe. But I think mostly she's mischievous because she's always talking about playing pranks. Oh my goodness, Delta, don't do that here. Not in the video. She's always talking about playing pranks, though. And so I think she's going to have the mischievous trait. And then she's friendly. She's definitely more friendly. She's also always talking about wanting the colonies to get along better. And so she's always been pretty accepting of even Oberon from a totally different colony. And then I'm going to give her the playful trait because, again, that kind of goes along with her being a bit of a prankster, kind of liking to goof around a bit. I think that'll be pretty good traits for her. So this is Delta, and she is the shopkeeper. I think that'll be pretty good. So yeah, that will be Delta. And next up, I think we'll go ahead and add Jag. Jag is the guard. And that's actually a decent look. And the head needs to be a little bit bigger, but as for the actual looks, that's a pretty decent one. Wow, because he strikes me as being a pretty skinny, kind of scrappy cat, with probably actually that unimpressed expression is a little bit, it's pretty much what I imagined, yeah. And is there a way, can we give him, no, I think the other eyes actually work better. And he has yellow eyes. They're very pale yellow eyes, so something like that. Maybe not quite so much of a snub nose. Let's see. Or would that be in head shape, the eye type? I don't know. We can bring the nose up a little bit like that. I don't think his muzzle is quite that narrow. And I think his face is a little bit rounder than that. And he does have these big ears, but they're a little bit skinnier and maybe not quite that big. He has a pale nose, maybe not pink, maybe brown. Brown will be good. And as for his coloration, let's work with that a little bit. This is a semi-decent, that was actually a semi-decent coloration for him. Maybe this actually, though, if we give him a pale back, that's kind of a cool look actually, but it's not quite fitting for Jag. Something like that maybe. Or with this, maybe we give him something like this maybe. No, that's a little bit too much. Maybe something like that. He's quite the scrappy cat. And so we're going to go ahead. I think he has a medium length whiskers should be fine. I think they're quite a bit light on the light side though. And then I think that actually looks pretty good for him. He doesn't have a lot of special markings. So we're going to go ahead and we'll just start adding his traits. So this will be Jag. He is a mixed breed again. As far as I know, none of these guys have canon breeds. So he's going to have a pretty harsh meow. Something like that, because I imagine him to be kind of scruffy, kind of harsh in his meow even. And then he's not, I wouldn't say curious, I would say he is territorial because he is not very friendly. He's very gruff. He's territorial. He's aloof, I think. He spends a lot of his time alone. And let's see, he's a prowler, I think, because he has to be out hunting, out fighting, out protecting the camp pretty much. So I think those would be pretty good traits for him. He has, look at that eye roll. Oh my goodness. He looks so unamused, and I feel like that suits him pretty well. So yeah, that's gonna go ahead. That's gonna be Jag, I think. We'll go ahead and have that be Jag. So we only have 3 cats left, and I think the next one we're gonna do here is actually going to be Arthur. Oh my goodness. That's actually a great look. Let's go ahead. Not quite suitable, but oh my goodness. What is it? Is it the eyes? Something about this look. I'm gonna kind of maybe make them a little bit less... Oh, they're actually different eye colors. This one is the darker blue and this one's the lighter blue. That's kind of cool, but I think we're going to go ahead and match them. And that actually is pretty... This is a fairly good look for Arthur, actually, minus the ears. If we give him... He's got ears more like this, I think. More like that. Yeah, something like that, I think. And then he's a very orange-colored cat. So we want to try and find... I think we'll make these markings like dark brown. These will be kind of a little bit... Or let's see, can we give him like a nice orange color? I want to give him a different color tabby markings, I think. Let's give him these brown. Well, maybe these brown. And then this will be a little bit more on the reddish side. This will be... There we go. That's getting to be more like it. And then is there a slightly reddish underside? There is. And then there's also that one. I think that's a pretty good look. And then Arthur has medium-sized whiskers. They're not as short as all that. And then, yeah, I like that. And I imagine he is fairly fluffy as well, so I kind of like that fur type. Body type is either going to be this one probably, or this one. That one I think is a little bit better. And then, let's see, for fur type, that's what we have. We can also do that. I kind of like that. I kind of like this one because that gives him a nice bit of floof. He kind of strikes me as being rather lion-like, and I imagine he has fairly large paws because he strikes me as just being a generally big cat. Like, he's probably pretty large in size, and of course we know he's the strategist and he's always out fighting and stuff. So he's probably, I feel like he's a pretty big cat to match his big personality. And then... Let's see, he has like this cinnamony colored nose, which possibly this one will work, I think. This one or this one. It's going to be this one. Or maybe this one? I like this one. We're going to go with that one. And we're going to go ahead and come over here. We'll name him Arthur. There we go. And he is male, and I imagine he has a more... The clear meow, I think, suits him better because he's a very elegant sort of cat. Something like that, maybe. And then, yeah, mixed breed is good. And I think we're going to give him the talkative trait because he's a very poetic cat. And I feel like that suits him. I think he's pretty, I would say, affectionate because he's certainly loyal. And in all honesty, I mean, in our series, he has, he and Larkin are a thing. And I feel like they can be pretty sappy sweet to each other quite a bit of the time. So I think we're going to go ahead and give him the affectionate trait. He's just a very loyal cat, and there's not really a loyal trait for the cats in this. So I feel like that suits him. And then he's clever. He's a strategist, so clever might be a good one. I'm going to go with clever because he's a strategist. And so he has to be a good learner, a good thinker. He has to be pretty smart. And yeah, I think that suits him pretty well, honestly. That wasn't too hard. Yeah, I think that suits him. And let's go ahead and we will add in our next cat, who's actually going to be Robin. And I'm going to be looking through, is this a good, no, maybe. I'm looking at the body type again. That actually, yeah, I like that body type. So let's go ahead. And that's the calico color, so we should have some nice calico colorations here. Is she calico or tortoiseshell? I think she's calico. And there's different types of calico even here. That's getting closer. I don't know that we're going to be able to match her markings exactly because that may just be too difficult. She has her markings coming down her leg a little bit, so I think that would be a better option. Or here's another type. Hers are a little bit more closer together than that, I think. Here's another. Again, I think they're too far apart. I think that one we found down here is probably our best bet. If I can find it now. That's a different type with even less. And I think this one is probably this one or this one, I think, will be probably pretty good. So she's got a fairly light base, a lot lighter than that. I think we'll give her probably this one. Even though that's a little bit on the gray side, we'll just go with straight up white, I think. And then she's got fairly light calico markings, actually. They're a little more brownish than that. That's really silvery. It's going to be hard to find the right shade, I think. Well, we also got to look at this one. I think this is going to be... That's actually a pretty good shade. And then... maybe something like that. It's more brownish, though. That's too light, though, is the trouble. This is always the difficult part. That's the same shade as the other one. That's gonna be really hard. Maybe we'd be better off just placing in her markings. I don't actually know. She does have some of this orange on her if you look at her from the side, so maybe something like this would work. I think we may go with this because that's, I think, as pretty much as close as we're gonna get to her actual looks because they don't have all that many good calico options. Let's just see how this one would work if we put it to the same colors pretty much. This one was kind of a little bit more orangey, and then this was this one, I think, yeah. That's kind of got some tabby mixed in. That's actually not bad either. Still, I think this other one is going to be better, so let's put that one on this one, and then this here. This is a little too... Okay, that's better. And then... that's a little bit too much of a dirty-ish color for my liking, I think. For her, at least. Yeah, I think this is going to be pretty much as close as we can get without doing a total custom markings, which... Maybe I'll do that at some point, but I think that would be too, I don't trust my ability to create a decent looking calico like that, honestly. I'm not very good at that sort of thing. So she has nice green eyes, and I feel like they're probably pretty, not quite like that. No, maybe something like that. She's got, I feel like she has large eyes. She's a very sweet cat, and, her nose is pink, so we'll see if we can pull one of those off. That's like an almost albino pink, which is a little bit not quite what we're going for. It tends to look a little weird with the other markings because if you're seeing an albino animal, they're going to have pure white fur. And so that usually doesn't tend to look so good with markings. So something like this will maybe be a little bit better. And she has nice long whiskers. There we go. Yeah, that's coming along. I feel like that looks pretty decent, honestly. And her ears are probably pretty good, I think. And yeah, I think that looks pretty good overall. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to name her Robin. She is female, at least in our playthrough. There is some debate over that. And I feel like she has a pretty high-pitched meow. Yeah, something like that. And she's a mixed breed. And I think here, let's go ahead... We're going to not give her spoiled. She's very friendly. She's very affectionate because she's very kind-hearted and very sweet. And I'm going to say curious. I'm going to go ahead and give her the curious trait because I feel like that suits her. She's just a very sweet, pretty happy-go-lucky cat for the most part. She's not really into the whole fighting thing. She kind of just wants to run off on her own and find turtles and stuff. So I feel like that'll suit her pretty well. So that is Robin. And we're going to go ahead and add in our last cat now, who's actually probably going to be a little easier. We'll go ahead, we will add a cat. And wow, that's a very fluffy cat. But our last cat is going to be Pebble. And let's see here. What would be good? I'm looking mostly at body shape. What about this one? Oh, let's see, once the cat stops freaking out. That's actually, other than the eyes, a pretty good shape. So let's go ahead and we'll find, is there just like a nice plain coat somewhere that doesn't have a lot of extra things? What is this? That's, wow, that's like a fire cat. That's kind of cool. Maybe. Is there, we can literally just do straight up gray. That works. Maybe a little lighter. That's too light. I think this is probably going to be pretty much the best we can get. And let's go ahead and refine the facial features a little bit more. So Pebble has a black nose, fairly smallish ears, and a pretty wide face. I'd say long white whiskers, and let's see, yellow eyes, I think. I'm gonna go with this shade, I think. Yeah, this one. And those are a little bit wide set. Oops, that's not what I meant to do. I want to actually move. I don't want to rotate them. I want to, how do I get to move them? There we go. I want to move them a little closer together because they felt a little bit too wide set. And then Pebble really doesn't have any markings, so I think that works out all right. Body shape seems pretty good to me. I tend to gravitate more towards this one, I think, because that adds a little bit more definition. Otherwise it feels very kind of flat, and there's not a lot of, I don't know, maybe that's just the artist part of me. It feels like there's more shape to this one, and it's kind of a more dynamic look. And I think we're gonna go ahead and we'll maybe make the head a little bigger there. I think that'll be pretty good though. So we're gonna go ahead and name the cat Pebble. And the one thing that's a little bit interesting here is that in our playthrough, I have been saying Pebble is male. I have come to realize that a lot of you guys don't actually think of Pebble as male. So again, I'm gonna put him as male here, but because that's left up to the players to decide, you're always, if you download this, you can always go ahead and change it to female. But I feel like Pebble has a pretty clear meow, but fairly deep. I like that. Again, mixed breed, we don't really know. There we go. And I don't think we're going to keep the skittish trait. I think Pebble strikes me as maybe frisky. Yeah, for some reason, Pebble strikes me as being a frisky cat. And then maybe playful? Maybe. I feel like Pebble's pretty young. And then, let's see. And then probably pretty friendly. Pebble seems fairly friendly too. So I think this will probably be a nice combination. Frisky, playful, and friendly. So I think that's actually going to wrap up this episode though. We went through 7 cats. That's pretty good. And the only colony we have left is going to be Mystic, but I know some of you guys are probably going to be interested in seeing more kittens, because we did an episode like that recently, and I feel like some of you guys may be interested in seeing more results. So yeah, now that we have Mountain Domain, we could possibly play with looking at what some kittens might look like if you guys are interested in that, so make sure to let me know if you are. But anyway, let's go through everyone real fast and take a look. So we have Leo. And Leo is the leader, and the eyes are a little bit weird for some reason, I feel like. I think they're okay. It was kind of just the angle. I'm not used to seeing eyes that are that much of slits, but it works out okay. So that's Leo, and he is a prowler, he's curious, and he is a free spirit. Next up we have Luna, the healer, who is a little bit quieter, and who is she is a skittish, clever, and curious cat, and she's got this nice light coloration. We have Delta, sadly we couldn't give her purple eyes, who is mischievous. She is friendly, and she is playful, and of course she has these really nice purple markings on her, and that was kind of fun to do and get to play around with. And we have Jag. I'm never going to get over that expression, who is territorial, aloof, and a prowler. And so he's a pretty cool cat. He does have a heart deep down. He does. We've been slowly discovering that, but he's also a very scrappy fighter when he needs to be. And then we have Arthur, the poetic gentleman and the strategist of the colony. And man, I really like how fluffy he is. He is talkative, he is affectionate, and he is clever. And we have Robin, the calico. I think that does look okay. You'll have to let me know if you guys have other ideas of what you could do. And of course, if you come up with your own designs, definitely let me know. And I can come take a look at them and see what maybe you guys have done. So, but here is Robin, and let's take a look at her. She is friendly, she is affectionate, and she is curious. And last but not least, we have Pebble, who is a gray cat, and he is frisky, he is playful, and he is friendly. So there you have it. That is my rendition of the Mountain Domain. I hope you guys like it. And let me know what you guys want to see next, because we do one of these pretty much every week, and you guys have been seeming to really enjoy them. So yeah, please let me know what you want to see next. So anyway, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap up here for today. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Oh, and as always, you can find the download link in the video description. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. But until then, this is Jay, over and out.